Okay, now we are at question 8. Kate's age is 1/3 of her mother's age. So you should know, common sense is going to tell you that Kate is probably someone who is younger. The mom is going to be someone who is older. So technically, the 1 unit should belong to Kate, while the 3 units belong to the mother. So Kate, let's draw a 1 unit. You notice I'm shortening the grandmother's story. I was just looking at this part of the sentence. The mother, which I'm going to abbreviate as M, is going to be 3 units. So it makes sense because Kate is just 1/3, 1 unit out of the 3 units that the mother has. Now, the mom is 36 years old now. Okay. Now, when you draw your model out, straight away you know, alright, I all know that 3 units is 36. Common sense tells me I need to always look out for 1 unit first. 36 divided by 3 gives you a 12. Okay, now this is 12, 12, 12, and 12. Now, if you remember, we did this aged in MSP. And we said this, whatever many years has passed, the difference between them will always be the same. I'm 10 years old and my brother is 5 years old. Our difference is 5. Many years later, the difference between us will still be 5. So now, look over here. Kate is going to grow, the mom is going to grow, but there's one thing, the difference will always be the same. So let's look at what the difference is. In this case, 2 units is the difference, which gives us 24. So anytime, anywhere, their difference will forever be 20 years different. Okay, so the question is asking how old will Kate be when Kate is 2/5, that means Kate is 2, mom is 5. So we're going to draw a different model where Kate is now 2 and the mom is going to be 5. Okay, no space, I'm going to draw it smaller. Now, one thing that you know, definitely, the mom is definitely older than Kate. And the difference between them, remember, is always the same, which means it's always going to be 24. You notice that difference is always 24. Over here, no matter how many times it has changed, they will still be 24. This time round, 3 units is 24 instead. 1 unit gives you a 24 divided by 3, which is 8. So how old is Kate going to be? This is what we are interested to find out. So Kate is a question mark, but we know Kate is worth 2 units. So this 2 units gives you a 2 times 8, which answer is a 16. Okay, so always remember the number on top usually represents the person to the left. The bottom number usually represents the person to the right. Usually, most of the time. So the answer will be 16 years old when Kate is 2/5 of the mom. Alright, let's go on. If you need to pause, please go ahead and pause and try to figure out what is happening. So you could copy down the answers as well. Now we're going to go up to question 9 now. Okay, let's take a look at question 9. Question 9 says this. There were an equal number of boys and girls in the classroom. Okay, and after 18 boys left for a volleyball competition, the number of boys became 1/7 of the number of girls. So if you remember the skill that we learned just now, the number on top usually represents the thing on the left, whereas the bottom number usually represents the thing to the right. In this case, is the girl. Okay, so what we're going to do is, you notice this is a before and after question. Okay, after some things have changed, it became like that. So we're going to draw a model that shows after. And we are going to know that the boys is 1/7 of the number of girls, which means the boys is 1 unit, whereas the girl is a total of 7 units. So I'm going to draw the 7 units, 5, 6, 7 units. Okay, now they started off with equal number of boys and girls. My question to you is this, okay? Now some things have happened. The boys left. Now ask yourself, if the boys left, did the girl change at all? Okay, no, the girl didn't change at all. It was the boys' number changing. At the start, this was the start. The girls were 7 units, and after that, the girls are still 7 units. No change at all. It is the boys who left, and these boys who left causes this boy to become only 1 unit. Which means to say that initially, boys, there were also altogether 7 units. But after 18 of them left, it became 1 unit. Before this 18 left, there were also 7 units of boys, 7 units of girls. But after people leave, boys only left 1 unit. So you can actually safely say, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units is equals to 18. Because these 6 units are the people who left. And there are 18 boys altogether who left. So now, if you notice, 18 divided by a 6 gives you a very nice number. In exams, if you do this and you find that the numbers are very nice, you are on the right track. How many pupils were there in the class at first? Now, this is what happens after. Before that, before the boys left, we're going to change this to before. Before the boys left, there were altogether same number of boys, same number of girls. So total units will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 units. So that was what we have at the start, which gives us a 3 times 14, and your final answer, 42 students. Okay, so you notice this is what we have done in MSP before. We have a before, we have an after. We are going back time, we are going back to before. Okay, that's question 9. Let's go to question 10. Okay, our favorite ratio is mixed together with shapes. So we have something that's very interesting here. The ratio of the length to the breadth 4 is to 5. Looks very funny because usually you see that the length has got to be something that's longer. But in this case, the length seems to be shorter than the breadth. If you remember what we said about length, length doesn't have to be always long. So long it is facing you, that is the length. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw that rectangle out. The length, 4, is facing us. The 5 is the breadth, 4, and 5 is the breadth as well. Perimeter of the rectangle is 558. Now the perimeter, remember, is made out of the whole entire rectangle. So let's find out the total number of units. 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5 gives you a total of 18 units. And this 18 units, from what we know, is equals to 5, 5, 8. Okay? Now that you know 18 units, let's find for 1 unit. With your calculator, 558 divided by 18, how would you know you are on the right track? You get a very nice answer with no decimal, no remainder. Now your job is to find out how much is the breadth. Now remember, the breadth is 5 unit. Okay, remember the breadth is 5 unit. The breadth 5 unit. So what we're going to do, we're going to find a 5 unit, which is 31 times a 5, gives you your final answer. This question is going to be dangerous because you notice no units has been given. So it's your job to write in the units, because this unit would let you have your full mark instead of a half mark deducted. Okay, let's go to question 11. Our favorite fraction of a remainder. So let's do it. We start off with goats. 1/6 of the animals were goats. So what we're going to do, we're going to write out 1/6. And notice we are going to write out the English word. So we know this fraction represents goat. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to find out chicken. But chicken is a bit tough because it didn't tell you the fraction directly. What it told you is only this sentence, English sentence here. But you do know that it is a 7/10 of. Of means a times. Remainder. We don't know what is the remainder. It starts off with one whole minus a 1/6, which is the goat. It gives us 5/6, which are all the remainder that we have. And so now we know that this remainder stands for 5/6. 7/10 times a 5/6. If you press your calculator, you will get a simplified fraction, 7/12. So 7/12 is for the chicken. Okay. Now the rest were ducks. Now if you know that the rest were duck, you don't know what is that fraction. How? You have to find, right? So it starts off with one whole, minus away the goat, minus away the chicken. Whatever gives you the rest would be your duck. So duck, in fact, is actually just 1/4. So I'm going to write 1/4 over here. Alright, now we got all the three fractions out. And the question says there are altogether 273 ducks. So we know that ducks is actually 1/4 of it. But the problem is, if you look at it, the denominators are all different. It's very hard to compare. So why don't we change everything to the same denominator? 2/12 for goat, 7/12 for chicken, and maybe 3/12 for the duck. Okay, so we'll take a look at this fraction. This is the goat, this is the chicken, and this is the duck. So altogether 12 units. 2 plus 7 plus 3, total 12 units. Okay, now you know the duck is now 3 units. So this 3 units is 273 ducks. Our job is to find for 1 unit all the time, which gives you a 91. Question is asking how many animals were there in the farm. Animals are made up of 12 total units. That's why we change everything into a 12 as a common denominator. Use your calculator to figure out the answer. 1080 is the final answer. Okay. Part B of the question says what fraction were ducks? I think the answer is already out. But let's, instead of writing 3/12, let's write the simplest form, which is 1/4. Okay. Alright. Next question. Now I'm going to move this question to the third video instead, so that this video file will be very, very small. Okay, so watch out for question 12 in the third video.